What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Dancers or Athletes Do podcast, where we discuss the athletic aspects of dancing. I'm your host, Slim B. In this episode, we have as guest Stéphane Fizaine. Stéphane, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm really happy to have you on the show. For the people who don't know you, can you quickly introduce yourself and also your company that you're working for?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, it's a great pleasure to be your guest here. Quick word. I'm Stéphane. I'm a physiotherapist for 9 years, specialized in musculoskeletal disease and personal training. But I'm a dancer for more than 20 years now, especially breaking. But I tried other styles as well. Along those last years, I took dance class, but I teach b-boying for 10 years also. And yeah, I'm the co-founder of a project which called Respect Your Dancer. This project or everything started in 2018. Some friends of mine organized the second edition of a camp, the Camp Your Style, which is 1 week camp for b-boys and b-girl especially. And during a chat with some b-boys, we just asked ourselves, could we create a workshop to talk about how it's important to take care of the body in breaking? Because we all knew that, a lot of b-boys don't really care about themselves. And that's how we gave our first workshop, actually. And after that, at the end, we had so much pleasure to teach that kind of workshop and to have very good positive return or feedback of all the participants that we decided to increase this project and to create more and more workshop. What does mean respect your dancer? It means that you have to respect you as a dancer and you have to respect your body, because each dancer is a dancer 24/7 actually. It's not only when you train, not only when you're on show, or not only when you're in battle, but every time in or during your daily life. Yeah. So we try to educate dancers so that they can raise awareness about the practice of the art. That's what we're trying to share. And the project has three different parts. The first one is the education part for dancers. That's what we're doing with the workshops. So during the workshop, we talk about how to warm up correctly, how to build a very good warm up, especially for training or a warm up for a battle or a warm up for a show, for an audition, different type of warm up. Talk about the importance of nutrition, what the dancer has to eat, when he has to eat, the importance of the hydration. We talk about the prevention of injuries also, and how to manage an injury. How we talk about how to have a physical training specific to dance. We talk about how to recover it properly and to relax the body. That's what we are doing, or what we try to share for our workshop. So that's the first part. The second part is the evolution for dancer. We take 1 hour of assessment by each dancer to find strength and weakness and give a program for that. And the third part is the physical training to reach their goal or their aims. If a dancer wants to do specific battle or want to improve their skills or stuff like that, we can produce a program specifically for him.
Great. A lot of information already. I want to come back to the physiotherapist that you are. At what point did you see that was a connection between, like, say, your or traditional athletes such as soccer players, tennis players, and so on, and dancers? At what point did you see, well, there's a clear connection and it's not just artists and athletes on the other side?
Yeah. First of all, I'm convinced that 100% that dancers are athletes too. That's really, I really convinced of that. Of course, dance is an art. That's true. But a dancer is a performer also. And to be a performer, a dancer needs a very good physical training or physical condition, because in dance we need strength, We need endurance, we need agility, we need speed, we need coordination and stuff like that. So that's actually why we help dancer to improve their physical capabilities. And from my point of view, I think we have to consider a dancer as an athlete because he produced so much physical effort equal to another sports like a gymnast or a sports player or others athlete like that. So I think it's an art, yes, but it's also a sport or a physical effort.
So yeah, following on that, are there also differences that you've seen so far that you say like, okay, I have my clients or my patients that are the traditional athletes, and then I have my patients or my clients who are dancers? Do you see, okay, there's actually at some points a clear difference in the way that they use their body, move their body, or something like that? Or is it clear cut, like, okay, it's exactly the same, there's basically no distinction when looking at it from a physiotherapeutic point of view?
Yeah, basically, I think that every discipline has its own specificities. And I think that the most difference between dancers and others is the quantity of training. I mean, as a dancer, when you have to prepare a show, you could have a very long rehearsal. And usually you know when you start, but you never know when you stop. And you could have very long time of training. It could be 1 hour, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours for one day, 2, 3, 1 week. And I think it's the most different part with that. And you could train in the morning or in the afternoon or even in the night. And that kind of schedule is not very good for a dancer. A lot of different athletes have their training, that day at this schedule, and that day and that day and that day. It's 1, 2, or 3 times a week or more. And the dancer is 1, 2, or 3, or even more and more and more. And I think that's the very big difference. For most of the sport, there is fixed schedule, but in dance practice, you could have very random schedule.
Yeah, and yeah, indeed, that's true. I can agree on that, or I can say that it's true because yeah, when we travel or we bell never starts on time. The event never starts on time, never finishes on time. So I mean, it's a lot of adjusting from the dancers' point of view. It's not just like you said, indeed, like a fixed schedule, as sometimes would be a little bit easier, of course. And coming back to what you said earlier, you already mentioned warm up and so on. But what are like the different aspects? You have warm up, cool down. Could you explain what they are, how they fit into the schedule of a dancer?
Okay, I think that every dancer has to know that the warm up is the most important part of any training. You have to start with your warm up, with the correct warm up. And an effective warm up is not less than 15 minutes. You have to warm your body for 15 minutes just to prepare your body to dance. You have to have some joint mobilization, to strength training, to work on your endurance. And if you don't do that, you increase your risk of injuries because your body needs like a routine to be sure. You have to tell to your body that I'm going to dance, I'm going to do a lot of different things, and you have to know that because you need some energy, and your body going to take this energy in your muscles everywhere in your body, and that's how you recruit every source of energy. If you don't do a warm up, you could dance for 10 minutes, you're going as fast as you can, and you're going to be dead for 10 or 15 minutes. And you will have 10, 15, 20 minutes to recovery and then to dance again. And if you're doing your warm up properly, 10 or 15 minutes, you could dance for 1 hour, 2 hour without any problem like that. You talked about the cool down. It's very important to have a cool down. just 5 minutes at the end, just to relax your body and not go out of your training room and go to your car, go back to your place and then relax. No, you have to take just 5 minutes to breathe, to really going down. And yeah, that's very important. I think the warm up and the cool down are very, very important in your training or in your dance routine.
And does the cool down also involve stretching? Or is it more like the relaxing part? Or
It's a very, very difficult subject, that, because a lot of people say something, a lot say the opposite. So it's very complicated that way. About the stretching, I think it's very important to know how you have to stretch and when you have to stretch, but also why are you stretching your body. You don't just have to stretch, random order or stuff like that. You can't stretch. Or actually, no, you can stretch whenever you want. It will never be bad, but you can't do it without any consciousness. For an example, if you're doing one stretch for more than 30 seconds, your body will relax. Okay. And your body will not be able to practice as much as it could. Okay. But if you stretch less than 10 or 15 seconds, it will be more able to practice. Okay. I don't know if you see the difference. So that's why it's important you have like active stretch or passive stretch. You can stretch and keep your body warm, or you can stretch and to relax your body. There's different kind of stretch, and most of dancers, I think, or most of athletes, all just know or have knowledge about the relaxed stretch and not the active stretch.
And is the active stretch also something you do during the cool down, or is it more something during the warm up that you integrate there?
You're doing that for your warm up or during your training. If it's a cool down, you just have to relax your body. So you could just do some passive stretch, or it depends what you're looking for actually. If you want to increase your flexibility, sorry, it would be better to do some active stretch. Yeah, but it's a very complicated debate about that.
Yeah. And does it also tie in with like recovery itself? Like after you've done stretching in the sense of recovery? Because from things I've read, regardless of whether it's about dancers or not, some say that like even if you have a rest day, it's better to have like an active recovery day where you still do some stretches because so your body doesn't like shut down the whole day. Is that also something where you would do these longer stretches of 30 seconds?
Yeah. Also, it depends of your practice. If you practice every day, for example, you train 5 days a week, you need minimum 1 day off without any practice, without any stretch. It could be better for your body to recover by itself. But some people need like passive stretch to relax and to avoid dumps after the day after your training. But some other people who are trained or who used to stretch a lot will need more active stretch. But it depends really on your practice and what you used to do.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so it highly depends actually on the dancer itself.
Yeah.
And yeah, and when it comes to implementing something like a stretch or a cool down, I mean, you can probably just now go to YouTube and Google something, you'll find something, but how do you decide what to pick? Is it something that you can do alone or that you preferably do together with maybe a physiotherapist or a physical trainer or somebody else?
I think for that, a very good point is your pain. If you feel some pain when you do a movement or a stretch or stuff like that, your body talk to you. It's not very the good way for you. Okay, so you have to listen to your body about that. Now, if you want to improve some skills or to improve your flexibility or stuff like that, I think if you have any information, any knowledge about your anatomy or your physiology or stuff like that, I think it's better to have some advice from a physio, an osteo, or a doctor, or someone who knows your body. I think it's very important. You can find a lot of different videos now on YouTube, as you said, but I think that the most important message I want to tell here is everyone has his own body. You can't do the same thing than another one because
Mm.
everyone has his own style, has his own body, so you can't just reproduce the movement of everyone else because it's not your body, it's his body, you know?
Yeah, and continuing on what you said last, like everybody has also his own style.
Yeah.
Do you see a big difference here? Because you said, okay, it started with b-boying or b-boys and b-girls, but do you now see differences with hip hop dancers, how dancers, maybe ballet and so on, or do you say maybe it's similar, or do you really see big differences between people doing different styles?
There is difference because of the style or because a lot of b-boys, maybe not now, but a few years ago, a lot of b-boys just learned it by themselves because
Mm.
they knew someone who teach him how to do that, how to do that, how to do that, and they tried to do that without any supervision. I think the ballet or jazz or other styles are more academic, so
Mm.
you have always a teacher to teach you how to do that. You have to do this, and that. But what I found, it's a lot of dance teacher don't have any physiologic
Mm.
basics or anatomic basics. So a lot of teachers just reproduce what they teach or what they learned before. That's what we try to implement. It's we try to add a new look, or yeah, we have our dance experience, but we have our physiotherapist experience, and we just try to mix everything to improve the dance practice.
Because when you mentioned like in ballet, it's a little bit more stricter in that they have their teachers and maybe they have some background there. But like from what I remember in my classes, we had like a tell schedule in the sense we had only 1 hour. Let's not
Yeah,
do too much warm up and no cool down because we don't want to lose time of the choreo that they
sure.
have to teach. So
Yeah,
I can understand that it's indeed important to merge both or to educate at least the dancers there.
yeah. About that, what we're trying to say and to teach, it's your warm up doesn't have to be separate of your training. You could start to dance and to try some different new moves during your warm up, but you just have to be conscious of what you're doing and how you're doing. That's you could dance and start to dance. We try to share different way to warm up. Yeah, you can use your warm up to increase your aerobic training or your strength training also. It doesn't have to be very separate
Hmm.
of your training.
Yeah, that's a good tip for all teachers listening. That is indeed possible to combine them
It
to a
is,
certain
yeah.
extent. Yeah, you already mentioned something similar as what I'm about to ask now. That sometimes our trainings and performances are spread throughout the whole day. How do you deal with that? Because okay, you can start, you can warm up, you can have your first rehearsal, and then you finish. Then in 2 hours you have your another one, but that gets delayed, and at the end you have a performance. How do you deal with that when it comes to warming up, cooling down? Do you keep your body warm the whole time? What do you need to do to maximize the performance in rehearsals and at the actual performance at the end of the day, for example?
I think there's different things for that to answer to your question. The first thing is to be conscious of what you are going to do. Okay, you have your all day rehearsal, but how long? It's less than 2 hours, it's more than 2 hours, it's 5 hours, it's all day, it's just midday. You have to be conscious of that, and you have to be prepared about that. I mean, you need food. The nutrition is very important for
Mm.
that. If you are going to dance and you didn't eat anything before, you could increase your risk of injuries, or you could decrease your focus. You will not be very 100% of your capabilities. For example, if you dance less than 2 hours, you just need a little snack, an energy bar or an apple or stuff like that, and you just need water. If you train longer than 2 hours, your body will need more than just water. It will need carbs and minerals as well. And it's important to have that to keep that in your mind. About the warm up part, it's important. The first warm up has to be minimum 15 minutes just to prepare your body. After that, usually during your rehearsal, it's going up and down, up and down. That's why you just have to keep moving. You don't have to to warm up during 15 minutes every 2 hours. It's not that. But you just could do 5 minutes of joint mobilization or just cardio training just to keep your body a bit more warm.
Yeah. You mentioned already a few times like injuries, which are
Yeah.
things that most dancers will deal with at some point, at least. What are actually the most common injury that you've seen with dancers? Is there something specific that you say, well, this is something that really gets them a lot?
About that, it depends of the style because a b-boy will not have the same injury of a ballet, but I see I see most injuries on the lower limb, ankle, knee, or hips. Then even b-boys are bigger. It could be the wrist, it could be the shoulder or the neck, but most of dancers have injuries on the lower limb. Yeah, it could be sprained, usually, or tendinopathies. Yeah, stuff like that.
At what point or how can a dancer know if something is an injury? I mean, sometimes we can feel something and say, oh, maybe I'm just sore from yesterday, or maybe it's something that just like something small that not really an injury. So what are kind of the cues that we can look at to see if we have an injury or not?
It's a difficult question. Like I said before, your pain is like an indicator for you, for your body. If you're doing a movement which produce a pain during your practice, it could be just a little because you are a bit weak, because it's been 2 hours that you train and your body has to need a break, needs a break. But if you feel this pain after training, probably it's because you did something wrong. About that, to avoid injuries, it's important to manage your training. You don't have to train at 100% each training. You could train at about 80% of your capabilities or 70%, or just dance or work for one specific field, or it's because you have a battle, so you're going to work on your creativity, for example, but not going to be as hard as you could. And that's a very important point also. Usually your practice is very different during your training and during the competition or the battle. And that's a very important part. You have to be prepared, to be conscious that when you're in a battle, you are going to give 100 or 200 or 300% of your capabilities. And that's where you increase your risk of injuries because your body doesn't used to practice like that.
So if people now that are listening want to say, okay, I want to do better, I want to improve my dancing through the things that you've said, what would be the first thing that they would need to do or have a look at that says this is a good start to improve your performance?
I think one thing I like to say to dancer is a dancer used to listening to music, but usually he doesn't used to listen to his body. So the first thing is to listen to your body. And if you feel like I'm uncomfortable movement, or you feel like a sore or stuff like that, you need to be focused on that and to say, okay, how could I decrease this kind of sensation? And what I want to say is just to be conscious of what you do. You are going to dance, you're going to battle or stuff like that. Listen to your body. Your body needs energy. Your body needs to breathe properly. Your body needs a very good warm up. He needs recovery. He needs to relax. Well, it needs to recovery the day after or the day before. I think it's important to manage that and to plan or to have a planning about your training. You train 3 times a week. Okay, I know it's Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, for example. I'm gonna take one day rest. I'm gonna take one day to eat properly. I'm going to take one day to recover my body. I think it's important to keep in mind that, okay, I'm a dancer, but before I dance and after I finish to dance, I'm a dancer also, and I have to take care about my body. And I think it's important to know just a little bit how your body works to prevent that kind of injury or that kind of trouble after.
Great. One of the last questions is, what are the next steps for Respect Your Dancer? What do you see happening in the future or near future?
Fingers crossed. I will, or you probably heard that breaking could be a new discipline in the Olympics game.
Mm-hmm.
We really like to be part of the Belgian delegation if we have some athletes to that. So we really want to help dancers to increase the performances. But before that, we will really like to share. We want to share every knowledge to every dancers. We want to educate dancers that, okay, you're dancers, but it's just important to have some new knowledge or some just to have a little tips to improve your practice. And that's what we try to do during our workshop. We don't want to share only the theory. No, it has to be practice. And we try to do practice and practice just to feel it in your body. No, so yeah, we really want to meet every dancers in every styles and just educate them, just tell them that you're very good in your discipline or in your style, but you could be even better if you know just a few things more.
Great goals, great. Before we say goodbye, how can the people get in touch with you or with your project?
Everyone could find us in the social media, in Instagram, just Respect Your Dancer. In Facebook, it's Respect Your Dancer as well. We have a website also. It's respectyourdancer.be. So yeah, you just have to type Respect Your Dancer and you could find us, I think, in these different platforms.
Yeah, Stéphane, thanks a lot for joining. You shared a lot of great information with the listeners. So yeah, thanks a lot for being here.
Thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure to be your guest today. And I just have to say, keep going to dance. Try to be conscious of what you're doing and just try to listen to your body. And the last word, respect your dancer and respect you as a dancer.
Great. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
If you want to know more about podcast, you can find us on social media. We are at DAAT Podcast. DAAT stands for Dancers or Athletes Too. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also check out our website at daatpodcast.com. I'm also on social media. Surprise, surprise. You can find me at This Is Slim B. Thanks for listening, and I hope you tune in again for our next episode. Take care. Kobo out.